Katrina Murray, Maiden speech.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for calling me in this debate on public ownership of rail. As a lifelong trade unionist who has spent the last 20 years campaigning to bring public services back in from the private sector, this understandably is an issue close to my heart. I congratulate all other new members who have made the maiden speeches today. I think one of the things that it has shown is that there is a passion across this House. There are reasons for being here. I very much appreciated the comments from the member from North Northumberland for reasons that might actually become apparent as we go on. It's a great honour to be in this place as the first member for the new constituency of Cumbernauld and Kirkintilloch, and my thanks are to people of the communities that make up the constituency for placing their trust in me. I wish to pay tribute to the work of my immediate predecessor, Stuart C. MacDonald, who was the MP for Cumbernauld, Kilsyth and Kirkintilloch East for the last 9 years. And it's quite appropriate that I'm making this speech today as the ballot for the private members' bill is taking place over in the lobby, because he showed that with the progression of his private members' bill into law to protect the rights of parents of premature babies, that we can all make a difference when we work together as a House. However, as referenced in his maiden speech, the former member for Glasgow South was also Stuart MacDonald, and there had been a significant level of confusion that did continue. What you will not be aware of, though, well, the member for Midland-Bartonshire will, that there is a further complicating factor locally, in that one of the parts of the constituency, the Kirkintilloch East and Twecker Council Ward, is also very ably represented by Councillor Stuart MacDonald. I thank all of them for the commitment they have given to their communities. I also want to thank a further predecessor, Rosemary McKenna, who served the constituency initially of Cumbernauld and Kilsyth, and then Cumbernauld, Kilsyth and Kirkintilloch East from 1997 to 2010. It was Rosemary who was one of the big influences on me as a young woman activist within the Scottish Labour Party that did bring me to this place. And she was one of the people that sat me down and said, maybe you should think about standing. The new constituency of Cumbernauld and Kirkintilloch literally runs from the boundary of Glasgow in Milliston to the boundary with Falkirk at Castlecarey, bisected along the M80 motorway. It is served by Croy Station on the main Glasgow to Edinburgh Express railway line, with Steps, Greenfalds and Cumbernauld being on the local line from Glasgow. Therefore, rail services are a vital part of a constituency where people travel to work. Whilst Cumbernauld Town was designated as a new town in 1955, it has a very rich history. From the weavers of Cumbernauld Village and Condorit, and the rich farmland between the Campsie Hills to the north and the Luggy Water to the west, there have been settlements here since before Roman times. The northern boundary of Roman Britain, the Antonine Wall, runs through the constituency. The Bar Hill Fort, garrisoned by people from across ancient Europe and the Middle East, established to protect the wall, is still accessible from Twecker. The evidence of our mining history in the constituency remains strong. From Kilsyth Victoria Cottage Hospital, which was one of the places in the constituency that I first went into work, the remnants of the miners' rows, which now remain as farm outhouses, or the vast swathes of new housing which had been built on former colliery land in Cadowan, Christon, Kilsyth and Twecker. Now, it's a far braver woman than me who will make particular comments about football, in the week either leading up to or the week following an Old Firm game. But Cumbernauld most famous outing on film was in the 1980s Bill Forsyth classic Gregory's Girl. If you are not familiar with this film, it centres around a school football team who experience a significant improvement in form when one of the girls, Dorothy, turns up for the trials and subsequently plays up front as a striker. Now, this particular film is a Firm Murray family favourite. When our house was burgled, when I was quite young, the younger members of the Murray family were probably more upset. The video which had Gregory's Girl on was in the video recorder that had been stolen. Yeah. So it is poetic that one of Scotland's biggest women's teams, Rangers women, play all of their home matches in Broadwood in Cumbernauld. And I'm sure that I can pass on the best wishes of probably most of the House when they face Arsenal's women's team in the semi-finals of the first qualifying round of the Champions League tomorrow. Now, as I've said, one of the big selling points of all areas of the constituency is its connectivity to Scotland's central belt cities. For this to happen, we need to make sure there's proper integrated public transport, which is based on public need, not just what and which routes are most profitable. Because it doesn't matter which part of the constituency I am in. What people want to talk to me most about is public transport. Whether it's an amended rail timetable, which means there are no services after 10 a.m. on a Sunday, or a bus service that gets cancelled because there's no cover, which allows the driver to take a break. During the summer holidays, the youth group at Twecker Healthy Living and Enterprise Centre planned a day trip to Millport using the bus service. Involved multiple buses, ferries, but it required phoning round to get lifts back to the village for the last leg of the journey, as the Twecker bus stopped running at 5 p.m. that night. Like most of us, I've spent more time than is healthy considering the basis of my politics, the basis of my values. And one of the benefits of being later on means that we've been able to listen to the maiden speeches of so many other members. And when the Honourable Member for Dumfries and Galloway made his maiden speech, he spoke about Galloway Dairy Farms. And that was important to me because I immediately thought of my grandmother. She grew up on one of those farms, the oldest daughter of the dairyman. She was bright. She passed her 11 plus and was entitled to a place at the grammar school. But in the 1920s, dairymen's daughters didn't go to grammar schools. Certainly not if you were the eldest and you had 6 younger siblings. She never forgot this. And in her children, in her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, there was an expectation that we would take all the educational chances open to us and fight for them where they weren't obvious. We were expected to stick in at school, go to university, and when we were qualified, we were to embrace a life of service. I'm proud to come from a family of teachers, of doctors, of civil servants, of health workers, of school staff, of social care staff. I'm also proud that my parents are being able to be here today to this. We were supported to challenge when things weren't fair and to stand up for ourselves. So it's probably no surprise that I ended up as a trade unionist in the health service, fighting for public services and never shutting up. But for the whole of my working life, I've worked in partnerships and tried to build alliances between workers, between communities. Many of the communities of Cumbernauld and Kirkintilloch are at a point of transition, and it is in that spirit of partnership and alliance that I will work to strengthen the bonds that bind our people together. I will work in this place as I will in Cumbernauld and Kirkintilloch to confront the challenges we face around these points of transition, to ensure that it is what unites us that guides us. We have heard across this chamber this afternoon all of the points that do unite us. Let's not focus on difference. We should focus on areas of agreement, Madam Chair, because we cross paths far more often than we cross swords.
Yeah.